Kia ora koutou, welcome to episode 3 of the Bookshop Detectives podcast vlog. We still haven't quite come up with a genre for what this is, but thank you for persevering and listening to us. And it's also, as of yesterday, Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, which this year's theme is ake, 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 which is making sure that we know that it's a forever language. So we are not greatly along our Te Reo Māori journey, but I would just like to acknowledge that that's what's happening this week. Yes. And we shall be making sure that it's front and centre in our shop, as it mostly is anyway.
And you try really hard, and I'm quite rubbish. But I do pick up the odd words as we go along, which is what it's all about. Really,
yeah, you are trying.
I am trying.
So that's good.
And to be honest, I struggle with English quite a lot. So
you do. I'm just looking at your little crib sheet there, and okay, I won't talk about your spelling. But never mind, moving along swiftly. We've had a really busy week, eh? It's Sunday today, and from Thursday we were on the road, and we're just home about half an hour ago. So do you want to talk about where we've been through?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of a tiki tour. So we went to Headley's in Masterton. We met the legend that is David Headley.
David Headley.
Yeah, we had a good chat with him because you're going to go and do the Yarns in Barns later in the year, aren't you?
Yeah, on Labour weekend. Yeah, look out for Yarns in Barns. I'll be in conversation, I think, with Mary Biggs. Yeah.
And unfortunately I can't go because I'm at Armageddon, Auckland, doing geeky things.
Selling geeky books.
Selling geeky books.
Your other books.
And our book as well, but also the geeky ones. Yeah, so that was great at Headley's. And there was a lovely, our book was on the counter and there was a lovely review on it, so that was cool.
Yeah, Sue Reed, who's very heavily involved with their book clubs, and I think they'd had a book club the night before and they'd talked about our book, among others. So that was rather lovely.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great to see it on counter.
And then next we went to Almo's in Carterton.
We did, yeah, and that was lovely, mainly because there was a dog and it was supposed to be tied up in its little basket and by the counter, and the Almo's guys noticed that it wasn't tied up when I was having a very lovely play with the dog in the middle of the shop. It had come loose, but it was great.
And also our friend Chris Sanders' book was on the counter.
Yes, All Kiwi Brown, Christina Sanders' latest novel, right up there on the counter.
Because they were doing it for book club, and we're doing it for book club as well.
We're doing it for book club. I don't know quite how to describe the book that you're doing for book club. We're reading it for book club, I suppose, but
we're analysing it very eruditely for book club.
Some people will, and Gareth won't. And
no, I do. I like to think that I do add a lot to our conversation.
Yes, you do.
As a best-selling author.
Yes.
And award-winning author.
All right, where did we go next?
We went to Mrs. Blackwell's, and that was good. And they man, is that shop seriously on point with the branding. It's amazing, eh? Yeah,
and it's so clean and tidy, it makes you want to go home to your own shop and just make sure everything's as clean and tidy as that. Yeah. But beautifully laid out. What a gorgeous shop. Yeah. And we were absolutely stoked. We did that thing that authors do. It's a bit naughty, and you go in like as mystery author. So you're like, oh, hi, and you wander around looking to see if your book's there. Because you're a bit shy about it. There's nothing underhand about it, really. And we saw this really big pile. Yeah. So I picked one up, I went up to the counter to Mr. Matthews was on duty.
Yes, Mr. Matthews.
And said, this is me. I'm going to do that thing that authors do and go, this is me. You don't have to have them signed if you don't want to. I just wanted to. And he was so lovely. Yeah. Just so welcoming. Yeah. And we posted something on the Instagram, and my sister-in-law said, that's my cousin. Did you figure out the Fano connection? And we didn't, but we will, and we have now. So that was cool. Yeah.
And it's like when I guess you also don't want to go in. You want to see that your book's there first, because we know from the other side as the bookseller, when an author comes in and you haven't got their book, you feel quite bad.
Well, it's deeply mortifying, actually, isn't it?
And you can't stock everything, but so we didn't want to put them in that position. But fortunately, they had a lot. They even had extra ones hidden in a cupboard that they brought out for us to sign.
Very satisfying.
So that was very satisfying. That was good. Yeah. And then after that, we went to Martinborough Bookshop, and Stevie, because Stevie's been on tour with us, he went and hid under their cookbook table, which found a very nice place there to hide. Yeah. He was quite happy under there.
Yeah, and it was lovely to see our old pal Rosie Fennick, author extraordinaire. She was on duty in the Martinborough Bookshop, and books of hers that I've very much enjoyed are Death, Actually, which was set in Queenstown. It's an undertaker's, but I think she liked to be referred to as a funeral director. So there was a mystery involved in that one, and then Cold Wallet, which is a Bitcoin mystery as well. And Rosie's been up here, and I've interviewed her on Radio Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, so that was good. And
it was lovely to see her again.
Yeah.
And to
Lovely
hear that
bookshop.
she's writing.
Yeah,
she's working on
a
something
new
at the
one.
moment.
Yeah, so that's cool. So that was sort of where we visited on our drive up, just popping in, and then we had an event at Schrodinger's on the Thursday evening.
In Petone.
Our friend Mary runs that. So if you've read the book, and there's a bookshop called Mary's Cat in Petone, it's basically Schrodinger's.
Yeah,
yeah,
under the name.
Yeah. So we did an event there. It was packed out down the aisles, wasn't it? It was really
lovely.
well attended, and we had a really great chat. And probably the nicest part was, Stevie was sat behind our chairs, and then about halfway through, he just sort of wandered out from behind the chairs and lay down in front of us, and the whole audience went, "Ooh!" But he did it really quietly, so it didn't scare him. So that was great.
They knew he was a timid little beastie in the context of the bookshop.
Yeah.
But he knows Mary and he knows the shop a little bit, so he was quite happy in there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
On the sly.
And there were sat right to the sort of the left of us. There were a couple of coppers from Wellington, and they loved the book. And one of them said, I really like the characters' humanity, despite all they've been through and everything.
They haven't lost their humanity and their understanding of people being human beings and making mistakes, and there aren't many that are truly evil, I think is what we were getting down to. Yeah, there's usually a reason for the way that people are behaving.
Yeah, so we had a little chat with them after while we were doing book signing, and about the life of being coppers, and it was just really nice that someone who's actually doing the job here, didn't say, "Oh, you did this wrong, or you did that wrong, you got that wrong."
Of rubbish.
They just really liked it, so that was great.
Yeah, we've got contacts now as well.
Yeah, and also
fact checking.
One of them was a sergeant. I said, "Can I have your email in case I need to check anything for book 2?" And she said yes, and that was great. So,
brilliant. Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah. And then on the Friday lunchtime, we were at Unity in Wellington.
Yeah, Stevie had a very brave walk through the centre of the capital city.
He did.
He's not great at crowds or big open spaces, and that was a lot, but he did very, very well. And had pats with Marcus and Melissa and everybody who's at Unity, which was lovely.
Yeah, and we had a couple of people that we know from the business of the shop. So one of our reps, who's been a long time rep for different companies, but has been visiting us for years.
Lovely Tammy.
She turned up.
Yeah.
And she brought some cat biscuits for Stevie, which he snubbed initially, but we noticed they were gone by the end of the session.
He did hoover them up,
Then also Todd, lovely Todd, who sells us cards or brings us greetings cards. Yeah,
it's really cool when your mates turn up.
Yeah, it was good. So that was, and we had a really good session. There were some good questions from Marcus. So it was a really fun session.
Real different ones. It was nice. It was we interview each other quite often, and you tend to get into a bit of a routine with it, don't you?
Yeah.
So it was nice to just have some slightly left field ones and you've got children. Why aren't your children in the book?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was quite cool.
And my daughter asked that because our daughter lives in Wellington, so we saw her on Saturday night as well.
Yeah.
And she was saying, "Well, what did you say?" And I said, "It's because we're very disappointed with you."
He did say that. Which is obviously not true. It was more that we didn't think you'd want to be in it because you actually value your privacy quite highly. Yeah.
Amused me anyway.
Yeah. So we hung out with her daughter, which was really nice, and her partner. And then on Saturday afternoon, it drizzled and the temperature dropped, and we had a gig at Marsden Books, and we were like, nobody's going to come because it's actually got quite miserable. And it was lovely.
Yeah,
Lots of people came.
They did, because from running events in our own shop, if the weather's terrible or there's anything that presents a problem, people don't come out.
Yeah.
So we were sat there at about 10 thinking, "Oh, I'm not sure it's going to turn out because the weather's miserable." Yeah. And then it was a shot full, so it was brilliant. It was lovely. And there were some really great questions.
And we met Lauren Keenan. So Lauren Keenan I was looking in the audience, and I do this quite a lot where I think, "Oh, I know you." And then I don't. It's just someone that I've confused them with. But
normally she tells me it's someone really famous. We were sat in a cafe in Havelock North, and Louise was trying to convince me. I can't remember.
Oh, it was Trevor Eve.
Trevor Eve.
Not,
Trevor Eve was sat at the table
Eve.
next to us, and I was like, "No, it isn't," and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
So you do that all the time.
But anyway, I thought, "Oh, you look familiar," and it was Lauren Keenan. So it was a famous New Zealand author. Her book, The Space Between, is just one of my favourites. So. Check that out. Yeah. So that was really cool.
That was a really good event.
It was nice to hang out there. And then we had a nice evening. And then today
even. It seems like longer ago, but it was only a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
We were at Books & Co in Otaki, and we had a really...
It's Māori Language Week, so we're going to say Otaki.
Otaki.
Which I believe is
the correct
how you say it.
pronunciation.
It might not be.
Otaki. Okay.
We'll try.
And that was a good, for a Sunday lunchtime, which is a bit of an odd time. They had as many people as they could fit in there, which was great. And again, we met one of our old reps who's now retired, Shane. He turned up, and it was lovely to see him.
It's great to see him.
And then there was a chap called Brendan, who, if you've read the book, there may be someone in the book called Bernard, who Brendan may have been the inspiration for. He's in all techie at the moment, and he came in to see us as well, so it was lovely to see him. And Stevie sat for us because Stevie knows him a little bit because he used to be in our sci-fi and fantasy book club.
He had a bit of a snoof, and Brendan obviously was quite familiar smelling, so like, I'll sit here with you.
So Brendan sat on a chair a little bit to the side of Stevie, sat under the chair being patted and consoled by Brendan, and we did a good talk, and it was really good fun, and there were some really cracking questions there as well. And it was just a really enjoyable session.
And then in the way that you wouldn't normally go home that way, but we were going to Otaki, so we went to Foxton. I love Foxton. What a cool place. There's a nice little river walk that Stevie kind of decided he was going to do and then got nervous about and didn't and went back to the car.
Bottled it after about 20 yards.
But there's the windmill.
The what?
The windmill in Foxton. And that was beautiful. Lovely cafe.
We went and had some absolutely superb carrot cake.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
And then we went to Mewington's, and at the minute they're a lovely little bookshop, but they're in the next few months they're going to move to a much bigger premises, and they've done some brilliant things. They've got like this wardrobe that's full of fur coats, and you could go through it into like a Narnia corner.
And it's got the lamppost and the snow and Aslan, and it's so cool. It's so cool. So I think they're going to recreate that in the new space that they're about to move to. They're hoping Labour weekendish. So look out for Mewington's in Foxton.
So we'll be excited to see that on a much bigger scale when we get there.
Man, this country's got some amazing bookshops.
It has,
We haven't even touched like Paper Pluses and Whitcalls and everywhere yet, so we'll have to harass them next. I think we have a quieter week this week, but we've got some book events. What are we doing? So on Wednesday evening, we have a Murder and Mayhem evening, another crimey-wimey evening with Catherine Lee, who is the author of The Water's Dead and Better Off Dead, two crime novels set in Northland, with D.I. Nairi Bradshaw as our fierce investigator, and very good storytelling. So looking forward to hanging out with Catherine and having a good chat about what it's like to write along the darker lines of life.
Yes, because ours is quite cosy, our crime. And then what have we got on Saturday?
Saturday, we've got Gregory Hill, who is the author of The Antipodean Express, and that's in our Napier shop at 6 o'clock. Choo-choo! And he took this amazing journey after he'd retired from doing some amazing things with, I think, principal horn player for the NZSO, really fascinating guy, and went from New Zealand to Spain, where he and his wife Anne, by train. And so they went Wellington to Auckland on that beautiful journey, and then the Australian bit's absolutely fascinating. It just makes you want to hop off on adventures. So that's going to be a really cool discussion on Saturday. So
that's our week coming up, and we shall be back here probably next Sunday to tell you all about it.
I should probably say, I think it's the 18th on Wednesday, isn't it? Wednesday the 18th, Havelock North, Catherine Lee. And then Saturday the 21st for Greg at the Napier shop.
So anyway, I will say my words.
Good, say your words.
Because it's Māori Language Week.
Yes.
Mā te wā.
Mā te wā.